We're early for Cuban time, actually.
Ahora de Cuba la Bella, del Palacio de los Jugos. Los chicharrones. Los vecinos aquí se enteran de todo.
Mi vecina era CDR en Cuba.
Y en verdad no hay nothing that you can do. Chacleteras sin llames con corbata.
Aquí yo vendo hot dog, pero en Cuba yo era médico.
Les saco el dedo y digo Q. Sweet home Hialeah. Solo 30 minutos de Le Fallo. Oh, sweet home Hialeah. I hate your traffic, but I love you.
All right, hello everybody, and welcome to another edition of East 10th Street Boys, straight out of Hialeah on the Finstock Sports Network. I'm Bobby El Gringo. That's Alex the Boy, and we got so much to talk about. Forgive me for the voice. I just got up not too long ago because I came home and I had a massive migraine. Me and my wife went to the parent-teacher conference, and I told her, hey, before you get to the school, because I was coming home from work, I was like, bring me some Advil, so I could go ahead and get better. And of course, I'm like waiting. I see her pulling up. I'm like, here it is, some relief. She's like, I said, you got the Advil? Nope, forgot. So I was burning up.
It's gonna push right through.
Alex, so much. It's gonna push it right through. Just going. And of course, then we started a little late here. We had some technical difficulties on my end. Me and I were talking. All of a sudden, my camera goes out, my microphone goes out, my computer's just completely out. So they replaced laptops. But I'm here. Somebody is ripping a loud one in the back. They got some gas. That's okay. Must have been that Taco Bell for dinner. But Hialeah Taco Bell. But we got so much of it. We got Dolphins, coming off. We're hungover. If you're a Dolphins fan, coming off that butt whooping they got on Sunday. A lot of fiery emotions. We're going to touch on that. We're going to touch on, obviously, Marlins. Congratulations. They're making the playoffs. They play the Phillies tomorrow. They lost the World Series last season. They're looking to make a run, but can the Marlins be an upset team, the Cinderella team in these playoffs? We're going to touch on that. I think so. And then, of course, the Miami Heat. Media day today. We got Emo Jimmy in the house. I mean, my goodness. What have the Heat done to Jimmy Butler? We're going to talk about all of that. But before that, Alex, my brother, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. A little tired, like you just. I just got home as well. I had team meetings today at school. We had my daughter's volleyball game, so we just got home. Like I want to say 10 minutes ago. Made sure to rush in to get here and log on, but I can't complain. We're alive and well. Miami's been struggling this past week, except for the Marlins. So, and I know Inter Miami also. Messi is quote unquote hurt. Might have a minor tear in his hamstring, and we just lost Bobby's light. I like this. This is a Bobby in the dark.
You see me?
Let's do the interview
It's just a day, dude.
This is
and first
a
off,
sign.
Chef you in the house. Good to see you, brother.
This is a sign, man. Like you just like it's just telling you to go home, go to sleep. Just turn this off.
It's saying now it's telling me your PC needs to be restarted. No, it does not. Cut it out. Cut that crap out.
Hey,
I'm gonna lose
keep
my mind.
saying, no, it's gonna restart itself, bro. It's gonna restart itself.
If it restarts,
we write it solo.
It's all right, man. But, man. Sorry, finish what you were saying.
No. Just like I said, I know Miami sports has been down these past few days, but remember that's part of the wave. We were riding that high wave. It's gonna come down, and we're gonna keep on going. And it's a fresh start. This is actually my favorite part of the sports year because it's the culmination of baseball season. And you're kind of already 4 or 5 weeks into the football season. Now basketball season starts in a month. So now this is probably the coolest time where you got 3 sports at the same time. So it's a lot of content for us, a lot of TV time. So it's a cool moment. It could be a little bit overwhelming. Like for example, mine, I got a lot of team sports that start now, and then I got to follow up with volleyball. So it's gonna be a few hectic weeks, and into the holiday season. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
Yes, and so let me just preface this, guys, in case you see me drop out. I don't know what the hell's going on with everything over here, but if it does, I will pop back in. Alex will just roll it as I go. Just ride it solo until I get back in. But listen, Chef Shoe's not wrong. I'll just say, listen, I can understand the emotions of it. First off, let me just say this, Alex, and then I want to get your opinion on this because you haven't said anything live. I've been on two different post games for our friend Manny, Bearded Fanatic of Battered Fin Fans. I was on his post game. I don't know, obviously I was on ours, and we had Evan Finstanza, Evan on there. We had Steve Malloy and Brett Lagasse all on the post game, and it was a great post game. And it's funny when you get everybody in the same room and everybody's talking, it all starts to make sense. There's not too crazy emotion out of that, but sounds like somebody's laying one, dude.
Yeah.
All right. So,
oh no, that's my door. That's my dad taking out my dog.
What's up with your house, bro? Everything sounds like gas. It was like, but what's up, Duke? Duke in the house. Look, I want to touch on this very quick. I want to talk about. You call him Dookie?
Yeah, it's a cool nickname. Can I call Chef Jewy? Chef Jew?
No,
Chef Jew.
You'll just say straight.
Can
I don't know,
Dookie,
Duke.
man?
Yeah, Duke, Sir
my
Duke.
bad. Duke. If it's sorry, what if you do? Can you type there? My apologies if I offended you by adding a "we" at the end. Can you? Is it cool if I call you Duke, Dookie, Duke, Duke?
But Duke, thank you
for
watching.
Duke, man.
Duke just dropped out. I'm not watching this shit. But anyway, I'm just playing. But let me just say this. So first of all, yes, the way I kind of say it today was I was telling my father, my dad called me Alex, and he's like, man, it's just the Dolphins, they just got beat. It happens. But I said, absolutely. But the way I see it is, the way I could explain it is Duke. There you go. Duke. So from now on, it's Duke Tomlinson.
Every time I see you, Duke Tomlinson.
It's Duke, not Duke. Duke. But look, Miami was on a huge high last week. Okay. And 70-20. We saw how good that team could be. And yes, it was against the Broncos, but still an NFL team. They were coming off a huge high, the Dolphins, and they came up a team that equal and right now better, knocked them in the mouth and brought them back down. Miami got humbled. That's it. But it's only week 4. There's a whole season left. And what can Miami do from this? People go, oh, it's the end of the world. No, it's not. This is a learning experience for this football team. Yes. First, and let's see the other thing. This is how I'm going to say it, Alex, okay? Because on the show, I was like, did Miami get exposed, whatever. No. Here's what I'm going to say about the Dolphins. Steve brought up on postgame about the offensive line being exposed. I said the offensive line wasn't exposed. I would say the offensive line played like who we thought they were before the season. They were who we thought they were, in quoting the great Dennis Green from back in the day. They've been doing really well the first 3 games of the season. Very well. This game, it was like last year. It was scary. It was like, oh, crap, here we go again. Teams are owed a bad game. What did get exposed from the hope that we had is that the defense, to me, in my opinion, got exposed right now. Yeah, there's some stuff, you think about Van Ginkel and you look at Bradley Chubb, and there's some nice pieces on this defense, but as a unit, together, it's very scary. You can't really rely on them. The piece, there's some good pieces. There's a lot of holes.
Yeah.
The issues on this team that everybody talked at, and I remember I said this when we were 3-0, the issues that we discussed before the season are still there. It's not like they disappeared. It's all there. We know what the issues are: offensive line, the center, the tackle, the injuries, defense, linebacker, whatever, defensive line. But Miami was doing well the first 3 weeks. They were hiding those issues. They were next man up. But this week it caught up with them. A big brother knocked him down a bit. That Buffalo, Miami was coming off a huge high. Buffalo's like, no, we're going to knock these guys down. We're not going to let them come into our house and knock us down. And they were going to show we're still the guys out there. And they did it. Does it mean it's the end of the world? Does it mean that Miami won't take them out at the end of the season in Miami? No. Miami's going to learn from this. Miami needed this. The Dolphins needed this. And the fans needed this. people needed humbling. So I think, yes, there are things that need to be
Good
worked
evening,
on.
Steve.
Steve Malloy in the house, host of Real Talk Facebook.
Steve.
He'll be on tomorrow. And you got to give credit. I got to say this because and Steve shot me an interview today. Told me to go check this out with Tua, and I saw some and just listening to like Tyreek who said that we needed this. Tua said we needed this for the Dolphins. They're talking about we as in the Dolphins team for their teammates, and that spoke to me more than how they lost because it was like Josh Wingate, Beer and Sports Podcast, said, we've seen how good this team can be. I want to see how they do against adversity. This was adversity. They lost. How do they bounce back next week? And yes, it's against the Giants. Yes, it's supposed to be the Panthers. Yes, they're supposed to win those games. But if they could go 5-1, and then let's see how they react against the Eagles. Do they get punched in the mouth again? Or did they go ahead and take out the Eagles in Philly? You know what I mean? That's good at what I'm going to watch here. But I love how they reacted to the loss. I like that McDaniel said, hey, I messed up. I came away way too early, owning up to those mistakes. Look, and I can understand some of our fellow fans and even colleagues who are frustrated with Chris Greer. You know how I feel about Chris Greer. And to me, it's like I said it. I think of a late great Kobe Bryant. When it comes to this Dolphins team, we're like, oh, we're 3-0 or 2-0. Oh, you ready to apologize? Is the job finished? Job's not finished. We have to close it out. Now, what's clear about this team, what I'm excited, I want to say excited because we have same issues, but what's becoming clear now is what our needs are.
Yes.
This is a long season. I believe the Dolphins are going to the playoffs. My prediction before the game was that the Dolphins were going to win, but before the season it was 3-1. So they are where I thought they were going to be. That's fine. Now I didn't expect this ass whooping, but
it's.
And you didn't either, right? You thought this was, and you got, okay, let's ask you this first. I want to ask you this, and then you let me know your thoughts on the game.
Okay.
You were saying, and we still have a whole season left, but Buffalo now for 3 games straight against the Washington Commanders, against the Patriots.
Yeah.
I think it was a Patriots. I don't know who they played in week 2.
They've won 3 straight games, over 28 points. But
strong games, 30-plus points. Okay, and then a strong game against Miami, who we both believe are a very good team.
Yeah.
So you remember, before the season, you're like, hey, man, these guys are going to take a dive. I feel it. So with Buffalo, I'm going to ask you about Buffalo, but then you're just going to fill me in on Miami. Did Buffalo, like the Dolphins, did they humble you a little bit? We go, okay, no, hey, we still got work to do. We need to work up to them. And then what do you think, what was your thoughts on yesterday's game? And how do you feel Miami could come off that?
Okay. To the first question about did the Bills humble? Yes. Yeah, I think the Bills did humble us in right time, in due time. Because they're still, obviously, we're 1/4 into the season, and you start looking and you start analyzing this team, and like you mentioned in the forefront, everybody, I think, on paper, knows our weaknesses, knows the weak points of this squad, knows where the holes are, and I am the first one to admit that yes, our depth and even our personnel and our front seven defensively is not the best. It's more name right now than product on the field, and I can attest to that. I can admit to it. There's no issue. Now, do I always go based on the numbers alone? No, I don't. I think Jalen Phillips could have made a difference yesterday? Probably. Do I think Jalen Ramsey could have made a huge difference yesterday? Probably. Because this, honestly, to me, Bob, is a tale of 2 games. What I expected was when the game was 14-14, where you saw that game was going to go into a shootout, that's what I expected. Kind of like a Chargers game. I knew we were probably going to give up 30, 40 points, but I thought it was going to be a back and forth. And you can argue we're maybe 2 missed tackles away from having a 21 game, 21-21, 28-21. The digs that he spun around like 3 times and Koo couldn't bring him down. And one thing that I'm going to notate it, I'm going to talk first about the offense so I can get on to the defense. Offensively, the part that kind of exploited as well is the fact that we were down 2 key linemen at the same time. So this line, as constructed, in order to be successful, you could be down 1 person. Essentially, in my opinion, I don't mind being down Armstead. But when you lose Connor Williams, and I thought Eichenberg did decent for his first game, when you lose Connor and Armstead, Now you're 2 down. You're in a hole, no matter which way you look at it. So Connor Williams, and people criticize this, he's still top 5 center in the league. And you can have your snapping issues, but his pass protection, his run protection, is probably top 3, top 5 in every category across the board. And you see the effect it has. And do I think McDaniels going away from the run affected that as well? Yes. And I'm glad that he mentioned that, because even with which one of the bright spots in this part is a chain. He looks unstoppable in this scheme. The way McDaniels is scheming this offense, a chain looks like he can do this on a weekly basis. And you have a legit two-headed monster in Mostert and a chain where we know the offense. The offense is designed. It's tailor made for Tua and speed. We got that. We understand that he's reducing the amount of time that Tua has to throw, and it maximizes the potential of this offense because you're making speed even faster. So we understand all that. That aside, you have to acknowledge when you make a mistake in the heat of the moment, because you try to go for the play where you're missing key parts of where you see these 4th-and-1 plays and these 3-and-1 plays. This offense shouldn't have any issue with that because we have so many gimmicks, so many stars. But when they jam the line, you still miss. That's where you kind of miss the Wilson, where you're kind of thinking, I'm like, you need a power back where Brooks might come into play. Those were the things they start seeing, and your line is even magnified in that point. Now, was it a perfect game plan offensively? No. You went away from one of your strengths because, believe it or not, the running seems to be this year as you can. I'm not going to say your most, because you see it with the 49ers. 49ers run, obviously, the same style of offense with wrinkles that we've had it, and the whole league is starting to copy McDaniel's wrinkles and these extra motions before pre-snap motions. But a lot of those offenses are based on the run heavy. The running back is one of the key components, and that's why you have the Deebo Samuels. McCaffrey obviously went off yesterday for San Francisco. So those are the things you're starting to see, that a chain can be that guy. Mostert could be that guy. So, yeah, we see Tyreek Hill. You see Waddle, and I know they were playing the safeties deep, so like the top 2 safeties, and they're playing like, obviously I always like to compare it to basketball. They were playing the perfect zone for this offense, where you're limiting the linebacker was staying. They were only blitzing. They were only going with 4 linemen, and we were struggling with that, which is true. But there's ways that even losing that game, Bob, when you go back and you look at it, like I'm like, bro, we were right there. It was 14-14, 21-14. That's the part that like.
Yeah, I said this yesterday, and I meant
it just got away.
During the game, I was telling Tati, I was like, because she's like, "Oh man, they're going to head-to-head." I go, "Yeah." To me, I think this game is going to go until the first stop. Whoever stops, whoever's offense first, that's where it's going to start pulling away. Now, it's still, you would expect that even though they get a touchdown ahead, I would expect the Dolphins to come back. But there was something between that, because even though the defense was letting Buffalo score, Miami's offense was coming right back, and
exactly.
And the running game was going well, but all of a sudden, I don't know what occurred. And again, I'm waiting for someone to tell me, and I maybe have to go back and watch it. But even though I really don't feel like it,
the momentum just changed. The
Dolphins just all of a sudden played very constricted. You know, McDaniel went away from the run, which is, again, that's a flaw of his. That had
was it when Armstead went down?
No, it was before that. It was Miami was already kind of messing up at that point. It was before,
because I couldn't see the second half. I couldn't see the second half. We were in a tournament
when we got the on pregame, when we got the inactives. And I was talking to Evan, and I said, "Did anybody's name on that list bother you? Is there any concern?" He goes, "No, I'm okay. I think I can avoid it." And and he was going off the list, and I said, he was just saying, but I said that for me it was Connor Williams.
Yes.
That bothers me. I know we talk about the high snaps or whatever, but there's a chemistry there between him and Tua.
And Tua, yes.
And there's also he is a better pass blocker. He's one of the better centers after the snap. He's obviously top 10 center or top 5, whatever you want to call it, after the snap. And you saw he was missing yesterday. I'm more worried if this offensive line, we're losing Armstead for weeks. Armstead is out, and that's a
concern.
I'm going to wait till after the offseason to really make my opinions known on the general manager.
What we should do.
Play out.
Absolutely.
But I will say about this with Chris Greer is you sign that guy knowing his issues.
Mm-hmm.
You sign him. You have a left-handed quarterback, and you signed a left tackle, an all-pro, when healthy, but he can't. It's when healthy. He can't stay healthy. And as much as people want to put that label on Tua, I included when he's like, hey, man, I'm concerned about his health. It is legitimately a concern with Armstead. You never know when he's going to go down. And now his second game back into the season after missing 2 weeks, he's going to be out multiple weeks again. And we're paying this guy up to $20 million in cash.
And one thing, Bob, that I say, he did sign a good backer for him. I'm happy for that.
That's why I'm less worried about losing Armstead, because I'm okay with Kendall Lamb, but I'm not okay with Eichenberg. We need Connor Williams there. We need him to stay there. That will help us continue. Because look, I know we're saying we should win the Giants. We should beat the Giants. We should beat the Panthers.
But however, this is the NFL. Every Sunday,
we can't overlook those guys. Teams might feel confident. I go, look, now we know how to beat them. But really,
absolutely,
Miami has too much talent. You know, you got Tyreek, you got Waddle. Waddle, I forgot who brought that up. That was on the Battered Fins fans pregame, where they were saying that Waddle at one point looked like he was frustrated. He was upset that he didn't get the ball. Well, I'm not really concerned with that. I think as the season goes along, he missed a couple games. As the season goes along, this is true
about what Josh said. This is true.
Sorry, let me see.
Yeah.
Can't do the
because it just gets pushed back right away.
But there was a noticeable difference.
Yeah, a notable difference
between Connor Williams not being there and Eichenberg being there.
Yeah.
So Wingate knows his stuff. There's no doubt.
Oh, no.
If you guys do not follow him on Twitter or watch his stuff on Beer and Sports podcast on the Finstock Sports Network, he's right before our show here.
Mm-hmm.
Guy knows what he's talking about. I can't wait for draft season with him and Michael Vogel, and we got a lot of cool stuff happening.
And look, and I'm going to state this, because I'll mention this about the defense. And before I do say that, in this network, obviously, my specialty is basketball. I can dissect and speak in every aspect of the game. Football, I've always played. I've always enjoyed watching, but I am no way, shape, or form in this network the most qualified person to speak of this. But there's one thing that I want to throw out there. Maybe they can comment, and you can also give me feedback there. Defensively, obviously, we all understand Vic Fangio, who he is, the style of defense that he runs. What I think is great about Mike McDaniel and coaches like that is that you can coach all types of football schemes, styles, but you tailor-make your offense and your defense to your personnel. Now, one of the things that I saw is... Hey, Josh, I'm going to give it to you. They're my surprise. They might make the playoffs this year. I think they're going to make the playoffs this year.
I think they will make the playoffs. Core. I don't know. I'm not going to say Mike. They're going to make the playoffs, bro. The Magic for sure.
Okay, now when it comes to what I was going to say about Big Fangio, I have an issue. I have an issue with. I do believe there's no way when you have Xavier Howard or obviously with Jalen Ramsey. There is no way whatsoever that Stephon Diggs should go off for 3 touchdowns, 100 and something yards because of the style of defense that you want to run or not. Me, if I'm playing against an all-pro receiver, I'm just thinking defensively. We like to play a lot of 2-3 zones, 2-1-2 zones, and we'll play man defense and full-court traps. But I'm going to remove you. I'm going to make other guys beat me, or I'm going to give your officer and just let it go. Like, I'm just going to let you go off one person. Like, for example, in basketball, we have the term where Kevin Durant can score 50 on me. That's cool. I got no problem. But you're not going to beat me because all you're going to get is those 50 from Kevin Durant. You're not going to get offensive rebounds. You're not going to get loose balls. You're going to score 50 points, but not one person is going to beat my whole team. So, and defensively, was there something off in regards to Fangio should do some adjusting? I understand the personnel is not all there. But at the end of the day, in order to be successful as a coach, you have to work with what you have. It could be making a statement. I'm like, look, I'm missing this. I need this. It could be working a new system, players getting comfortable, us getting healthier. I do believe, and I told you this from the beginning of the year, I do believe the defense will gradually improve as the year goes on. I do believe that. No, I have no doubt in my mind. There are things that you like as a coach. You prefer this happen in the beginning of the season because it's always in the back of your mind. But until it gets exploited in person, it could be. And those are situations that this right here can cost you an AFC Championship game.
Yeah, it can.
Those are
Let me
things
just say
like
this.
that.
I want to say that you hit a lot of great points, and I just want to say this very quick, and I want to touch on Chef's comment as well. But I just
Okay.
want to state this very quick in regards of Xavier Howard. Look, right now, if Stephon Diggs had the game he had yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
we should be pissed off at Xavier Howard tonight. If because Xavier Howard should have been covering Diggs.
Exactly.
I like Kohu. I love Kohu. I and I'm not hating on him. Everyone has a terrible game and whatever, or get a humble pie, whatever. But there's no reason in the right mind that your top corner, because Ramsey's out, your top corner should be covering their best receiver. You pay him all that money, and you didn't have him covering their best receiver. We should be saying, man, what the hell's going on with Xavier Howard? 3 touchdowns, blah, blah. Not going.
Exactly.
Nobody should be hating on Kader Kohu. He is who he is. We know who he is. He's not Xavier Howard. He's not Jalen Ramsey. He is who he is. He's not even your number 1 pick, Cam Smith. He's Kader Kohu, undrafted free agent.
One thing am I missing something with Cam Smith? Is he just not up to par in the scheme of the offense?
Give him about. I said this about Jalen Phillips yesterday. Give him about.
Okay.
Remember, we got to give him about 4 or 5 years before he starts to blossom, like everybody else. But no, I don't know, dude. I mean, you got to leave it up to the coaches. Now, I will say about Vic Fangio. Oh, dude,
that's gonna be.
I love that. I love
that's
that.
Gonna be
that's
huge.
gonna be. Yeah, that's gonna be great. That's a refreshing update.
Oh, we were also missing the Sean Elliott yesterday. That's another miss that we.
Sean Elliott was out too as well. Let me just say, in regards to Vic Fangio, first, I'm gonna preface this saying that. Oh well, before that, I want to say, look, I believe you're right. I think it kind of, you got to let this defense get better through the season, and hopefully it does in time for the playoffs. If, we make playoffs, if and when, the other one of the points that was made yesterday, and I agree, and 100% is that, well, I said this, and was that Vic Fangio, these are none of his guys except for Van Ginkel, who was obviously. I said, when we brought Van Ginkel back, I was like, I said, dude, he wasn't supposed to come back. That was a Vic Fangio call. Vic Fangio said, I see something in this guy. Bring him in. They brought him back. And look, he's the most impactful player on this defense right now. He had a great game yesterday, despite what the defense did. And which is another issue with this team is that individual performances, they're really pretty.
Yeah.
But as a team, especially on defense, they're not getting it done. So, you got to give it time, yes. But again, these aren't Vic Fangio's guys. So I don't know how much blame you could put on Fangio right now.
Yeah.
I agree with Chef. I could see in the draft being very defensive heavy. You got to think of interior defensive linemen, maybe an edge rusher, definitely a linebacker. Those are things that Miami has to look at. My problem is here's my asterisk I want to put on that. Do we even know if Vic Fangio is going to come back next year? I know it's still early, but he's old. He's old. He's getting older. He's obviously older. He didn't really want to come. He wanted to go to Philly. He could jump, especially if Miami doesn't make a run, or he may say, you know what, I'm going to go to this team, or you know what, I'm going to retire and step away. And now you're restarting another coach. That's a concern.
If he's under contract, he can leave to be a head coach. But if he leaves to become a DC, I do believe the Dolphins can get compensation back if a team wants to acquire him.
Sure.
So that could be. I don't see him leaving, but that's interesting.
I'm just saying, Kohu. That's funny. But no, I that's something I'm going to say. I think that's something that
keep an eye
on. Guys, it's my fault. I blame myself for washing my. Ray Finkel, shame on you. And of course, you with that name would do it. I blame you for yesterday.
You know what I kind of compare this to in the Fangio situation? McDaniel last year with Gesicki. Because Gesicki's a weapon if you use him right. But Gesicki's no way, shape, or form the tight end that fits Mike McDaniel's system. And he was just stuck with him. Now you see this year.
Look at Smythe.
And Julian Hill. Like, you see the difference. By the way, Julian Hill, can we convert him into just a lineman? And just that guy. Have you seen that guy blocking, Bob?
Did he play yesterday? I thought he was
Yes. Julian Hill played yesterday.
Oh, I didn't.
I'm pretty sure he did. I'm seeing something. He's 89.
I agree with this, Wingate. I agree with this for sure. We know by the hidden gems and the undrafted free agents Miami's hitting. So somebody in that room is doing the job and doing it right. But Miami does have to invest in that and get better, and hitting on their pace.
this is something that I've wanted to talk about and mention because I know the famous is Fire Greer, and Josh, it's something I want to bring up with you, with Brett, with everybody in the network. I'm like, one of the things that I trusted about this front office is when they hired Allen and McKenzie. So those were decent talent evaluators for years. And I've always wanted to ask you this because this is something that it always, I know Greer is the final, and you're the decision maker. So you're going to live and die because you are the last person. You're the one that makes the final decision. A lot of these players do, some of them. How do we know exactly which one is a head coach picking a player? Like even 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. How much influence does a coach or an evaluator has and a scout has suggesting a player, or you're drafting in the situation of the team, a necessity of that year? So you're going to miss on a few players. You're going to hit on a few players because Greer has hit on a decent amount of players like Holland. I know arguably people talk about Tua, so you're always going to compare whether there's elite, all pro, a decent player, a serviceable man. But for example, like you mentioned about Van Ginkel in the 5th round, that's a hit. He's probably your best defensive player, arguably your best defensive player
So,
this year.
so again, he's the decision maker, quote unquote. And we see
Correct.
that's why people gotta go. People are judging 20 years, but then you gotta go, okay, when did he really start being the decision maker compared to working
And
for someone? And but
I
here's
don't
the
know.
thing: first 2 picks, 3 pick, whatever, yeah, he'll make the ultimate say, hey guys, but I think, and Josh gets, okay, there you go. Depends on the decision maker. The issue is the turnaround of the coaching staff,
Exactly.
which means there's a
Exactly.
constant change of scheme and player fit.
Yes.
Absolutely. Because the
And you
general
saw that. We
manager
saw that
might
firsthand.
listen. That's why when like a new head coach is hired on a team and they totally clean house, and then let's say maybe it's the coach, I'm losing his name, but Doug
Who?
Peterson or
Oh,
Andy
Doug
Reid.
Peterson. Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
say you hire one of those guys and you go, hey, who do you want as your general manager? Okay, I want this guy. And then that way they can work together. Or the same thing with you hire a general manager, they hire their coach. They're
Of
more than
course.
likely going to work with their coach and they go, hey man,
Of
this is where I
course.
live. What's your? But when you got a guy who's been in there for many, many, many years, and not
Mm-hmm.
that they have a bad relationship, no one's saying that with Mike McDaniel and Greer right now.
No,
But
no,
when you
they
have a
have a
guy
great
who's been there for
relationship.
that many years, he may overrule it. He might now he has said, because I think that happened before, but he may say is that and he says this is that hey, if McDaniel wants a guy, I'm gonna go get that guy,
Of course.
and so
I
but
mean,
when
we
it
saw
comes
it
to
this year with the chain. We saw that this year.
yeah,
McDaniel for
so
sure wanted a
well,
chain.
McDaniel wanted a back. He wanted another back. He wanted Jahmyr Gibbs. Didn't get Jahmyr Gibbs. He wanted, he talked about those other backs that were free agents and
What?
then trade thing.
Okay, Bob, with Jahmyr Gibbs, don't even mention his name. Jahmyr Gibbs is one of my fantasy running backs in my other league, and
He
I
pissed.
want to talk to Dan Campbell. And I understand Montgomery is a serviceable back, but what the are you doing with Gibbs, man? Gibbs is averaging 6 yards a carry. Give him the football. I need to score in my fantasy football team.
Oh
Like I'm
yeah,
pretty sure
they're
other
concerned
people
with
need to
that.
do
Yeah.
as well. Okay,
So
like just give
hey,
Gibbs the ball.
I lost. Who did I play? It was Wingate. I played Wingate in fantasy this year this week,
Yeah, in
and
our
he
league.
he
Okay,
he didn't even start someone, and he still beat me because of freaking Mozart and company.
man. Well, my name, my fantasy team name is now Who Gives a because it's like it's so frustrating, man. It's like you see it there, and obviously, yeah, Montgomery's gonna score 3 touchdowns, but you get him the football 33 times. Of course,
So
he's gonna run for 100 yards.
let me just bring this up about the way this who makes the change, because at least how I understand it is, yes, the first pick, especially round one, that's on the general manager, the owner, the coach,
Uh huh.
really the general those, and then you go to the second round maybe, but 4th round, 5th round, 6th round, undrafted free agents, it's less on the general manager and more
More
on
scouting.
your scouting department.
Mhm.
Hey guys, hey Chris, man, I'm watching this guy out of Wisconsin, or I'm looking at this guy here,
Uh-huh.
blah blah blah, Kader Kohu or Van Ginkel in the 5th round, and all right, let's look at, okay, he's higher on the board, let's go and grab him.
Yeah,
So
you trust those
there's
voices.
somebody in that room, in
Yeah,
that scouting room, that knows what the hell they're doing. So it is what it look. Again, I don't want to get the Greer conversation. I'm going to hold it for myself. Unless someone
yeah,
brings it up, I'm going to hold it until the end of the season, because you
and
know
see,
where I stand on Greer before
absolutely,
the season. But that's before. Now we're in the season. Let's let it play out, and then we'll talk after the season.
exactly.
But the issues that were here on this team, that were on this team, that had this team beforehand, that everyone was talking about, are still the issues
Mm-hmm.
during the season, and they
Yes.
poked their ugly head against the Bills. And that's why, yes, I can understand people who are frustrated before go, I told you so. But hey, just like no one should say I told you so after 3-0, no one should say that after the first loss. Let the season play out.
Yes.
Let's get there towards the end. Chef says, Bobby and Alex, do you agree that Fangio should continue using Van Ginkel to pressure Allen and keep sending it all game? Absolutely. I'm fine with it. Van Ginkel was on a roll yesterday. I think that the best thing they could have done was to pressure Allen, hit Allen, rattle him.
And
it was the other guys that just weren't getting it done.
And this comes to Chef. This comes to the part of when I mentioned about coaching, where you can coach a particular style. You have a style of defense. You have a scheme, but in game situation, you have to be able to adjust on the fly and go for it. If that game dictates that you need to put more pressure, and I know Fangio likes to, disguise his blitzes, and he doesn't blitz constantly to get you by surprise, the element of surprise. I get that, and he's comfortable with it. That's fine. But there are some games that you need to pick it up a notch. Maybe you need to blitz back to back. Maybe you need to blitz all 4 downs. Like whatever it takes. You read the room. You read the game. And Allen was comfortable yesterday. And like I'm gonna say this, when Josh Allen is careless, he looks like one of the worst quarterbacks, just a guy with an arm. But when Josh Allen is laser focused, and a big props to their OC and Ken Dorsey, like he has the team going. They're running on all cylinders, and the Bills lost the first game against the Jets. That when you started looking at it, you're like, wait a second, you lost to the Jets? I mean, the Chiefs almost lost to the Jets yesterday too. So I know, for example, even in our division, the Jets can go haywire. Robert Saleh can lose his job, and I'm not gonna lie, Bob, and I'm taking this to. I know we're gonna be hard on Zach Wilson and all that. Zach Wilson played pretty decent yesterday. Like he could, if they use him correctly.
What Rodney Harrison did was bad, dude. That was such a low
he's
thing.
Classless, dude. Man. You don't do that shit, bro. You don't talk about anybody like that. Like, and basically what he was doing, he was provoking. He was kind of like take the bait and say something. It's like, don't do that, man. Like if the player responds that way, that's fine. But you're showing a preference here and there. Like that's nothing that I don't know. I don't know why people do that. I don't know why it's the narrative. Why do people want to just bash people? Like, you can see that even in the Jets offense, it was built with Hackett. It was built for Aaron Rodgers. Now, if you implement more rollouts, more like those pass actions, like he was doing Wilson, he's comfortable in that. And that's his best talent. He's like Johnny Manziel. Like, honestly, that's all you can do with him. But he has a strong arm than Johnny Manziel. I'm not saying he's a future quarterback. I'm just saying, even the Jets can still win some football games and surprise some people this year. Do I still think they're going to finish last in the division? Yeah, I do. But, that's either near or there.
The East is a tough division, and it's a wrap, just to move, because after this, we're moving on. We're looking at the Giants, just like the Dolphins yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
They've moved on from this game. They're they're focused on the Giants. So but I just want to say is that right now against Buffalo, and just because we got to eat the humble pie, they're the big brother. They're still the big brother.
Mm-hmm.
They smacked us down. So we got to get ready for the end of the season. I believe Miami will be ready. I think this team grows as the season goes along, and we'll see from there. This team reminds me of Jason Garrett Cowboy teams. They don't put up points, but they're fighting defense. But they're fighting their defense to win. Damn. Hey.
That's
you know
true.
what?
True.
He says I kind of see it a little bit, but you know what? We'll move on. We'll go.
What's insane though, the defense won you 2 games basically in the first 2 games of the season. Like because of the defense, you sealed it for you. So it's a love and hate relationship for the first few weeks.
Yeah, that's right. All right, and we'll continue, guys, as we go along. Anybody wants to put anything in the comments, any questions in regards to the Dolphins and the Giants and etc. We'll go ahead there. The Dolphins go back home to face the Giants, I believe, right? It's a home game. Yes, it is.
Yeah, home game.
And then after that, they face the Carolina Panthers. I'm not overlooking the Giants. I'm not looking past the Giants. But the reason why I'm looking past it is because I will travel to Miami for that game. I'm excited for that. Get to see my brother. I'm excited to see him. Evan and Miss Finn's really push it, so I'm going down there. So it's gonna be busy. It's not gonna be any kind of vacation. I'm gonna be running all over the place, but I'm excited about that. So anyway, let's continue. Let's touch on some Miami Heat. And I want to talk about Emo Butler, but before we do that, the trade was finally made. The Portland Trailblazers finally did it. They traded Damian Lillard to the Milwaukee Bucks. And you look at that initial trade offer and you go, or the trade details, and you go, well, damn, Miami could have done better than that. But then when you see the total thing kind of come into fruition, Drew Holiday gets moved, you go, all right, not as bad.
They
But
did decent.
they did decent. You got to give them the right. You got to,
Yeah.
But first of all, from the Heat, just like we had with the Celtics, or we have with the Celtics, and what's his name from Utah right now,
Danny Ainge.
the relationship we have with those guys, the rivalry. Portland's on that list now. Portland, that douchebag over there.
Yeah.
That is what he did was it was dirty, dude, but whatever.
Yeah.
He did right by him. All fair in love and war, all good. But I've said, and I told you before the trade, I said, hey, dude, I'm done talking about this. I'm good. I'm wiping my hands of it. I said the last episode. Remember, you laugh. Just like that, you laugh. But I said, dude, I'm done. I'm not going to entertain this no more.
Until it happens or doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. And I said, because honestly, and I'm going to let you roll with this, because I believe this team, this team right now as constructed, the Miami Heat. The last year's team, the way it was, which was flawed,
yes,
made it all the way to the NBA Finals. And before the playoffs, if you remember, I said this team's a better playoff team than they are a regular season team. They didn't play well during the regular season. They fell into the playoffs. But what happened? They made it to the NBA Finals. But this roster here, without Dame Lillard, oh, what happened? Is it your camera now? Oh, there you are. He had to smack someone, I think. Anyway,
no. It was just the camera went off. I pressed the wrong button.
Oh, okay. But I believe this roster here is a lot better than the roster of last season. Again, our two young guys, Jovic, Jaime. I'm so excited. I'm so excited about the immediate impact he's going to make, and then the growth that Jovic is going to make. And I think Jovic might have an immediate impact as well. He came in 20 pounds heavier than he was last year. Thomas Bryant. Nobody's really talking about him. Nobody's really talking about it. Look out. Kevin Love, I think he's our starting four to start the season. Starting to see that. Caleb Martin is coming back. A guy, everybody talked today except for one player.
Yeah.
One player did not talk. Kyle Lowry.
Yeah.
Don't be surprised if that's moved pretty quickly.
Before
we go into that, I want you touch on Dame.
Okay.
Get us into Miami Heat talk.
Okay. You see, the situation with Dame, it was to say I was not stunned, it would be a lie. I was stunned that it happened. The moment I found out about the trade, my only thought was, who removed the demand? Because the only way that this could have worked out, it was somebody said it's not only Miami anymore. Because that's the only way that it would have worked out. Because if not, Dame could have made a stink and all that. Obviously, the details came out 48 hours later with the Chris Haynes report. That's the one I sent. Like I sent you the message. I'm like, have you read this report? It is insane. The details where you understand the power move, but psychologically and relationship-wise, it's something that we've never seen before in the NBA. Like, I understand people are going to compare maybe the Kawhi Leonard situation when they traded him to Toronto. Yeah, management did not work with him. He wanted to go to LA, and they traded him to Toronto. He had 1 year left on his contract, no leverage. Boom, he's gone. His time in San Antonio was it didn't end on a good note. Popovich and him weren't in the best relationship at the time. With Dame Lillard, he was a Class A citizen for the city of Portland, the franchise icon for the franchise of Portland. So my thing was, when you first see the return, I'm like, I know you're going to get more for Drew Holiday. I understand what you're doing. I understood the GM portion of it. And at the end of the day, when you look at the total return, it's still 3 first-round picks, 2 swaps, but you got DeAndre Ayton, Robert Williams, and Malcolm Brogdon. I'm not trying to be a homer in regards to the Heat package, but I do feel that even if they would have negotiated with the Heat, they were still going to end up with DeAndre Ayton. But they were going to end up with Jovic. They were going to end up with possibly Hero. Or if you move somewhere else, you were going to end up with either Jaime and Jovic, multiple picks.
Well,
maybe Caleb
Portland
Martin,
wanted both, but Miami was saying, no, we'll give you Jovic. We're not giving you Jaime.
Which those are the things that I'm okay with, and I can live with that because, I'll finish it up in the back end where I do see this build where it's kind of similar to the Denver build. I understand we're on Jimmy's timeline and we got Bam, but people forget and people are prisoner of the moment because once again we hear a name, Miami did not get the player they wanted to get. At the end of the day, Dame Lillard wanted to come to Miami. Dame Lillard wanted to come to Miami, and he was willing to stay in Portland to give Cronin the time to work out a deal with Miami. That's another point that people didn't talk about. That to me was, it got to a point of ridiculousness because as a GM, you knew Cronin wanted to trade Lillard because this was the time to get Lillard. No matter what package, Bob, no matter what package he would have gotten, it's basically a steal because of Dame's age, that contract, and Portland was not going to win anytime soon. So you're basically, when Dame Lillard requests, is like, okay, I want to rescind my offer and my trade request and I want to come back. They're like, nah, that's it. Like, there's no going back because you knew Cronin had to trade him because he had to get any assets available.
It's a distraction for your team.
It's a distraction,
and
you're not going to win. This is the only moment you can move. I know it's crazy, but from the perspective, I understand what he was doing. Do I think he should have worked with Miami relationship wise in the future? Absolutely. But I understand what he was doing and also why he did. Because Miami made an offer for Drew Holiday, but Miami had a price limit as well, which I respect that. People can criticize this front office, people can criticize Pat, but I do respect that they have a line where they're not going to go above. And Miami just values players differently than other people because Boston, you have to acquire Drew Holiday. You have to sign him to an extension. Why? Because no one's going to sign there as a free agent. Milwaukee, you have to trade for Dame because you're on Giannis's timeline. But I still analyze those teams, and like I said, I'm not trying to be a homer. I still see a bunch of deficiencies in those teams. Why? Because they're top heavy. You can argue Boston has depth, but that's why I'm okay with this team being the way it is because I'm happy with the players that we have. Not because I'm a homer, is because I do see a balanced team that is talented. People forget who Tyler Hero is. And Tyler Hero is going to surprise a lot of people this year. The way this team is built, right now in the starting lineup, there might not be a true point guard. And we talked about it last time. You got either Jimmy starting your offense, you got Bam getting you into offense, you got Hero getting into offense. If Jay Rich starts, he can get you into offense. I do believe Love will start, like you mentioned. Right now, I have a scenario where I have like two different scenarios here, where Kyle Lowry is your backup point guard, and the other scenario is that Kyle Lowry doesn't even suit up for you. He just stays away from the team, or he's earned the team, or you move him because you're getting to the point where what direction do you want to go? You sign R.J. Hampton, which remember this name, Bob, R.J. Hampton.
Yeah, I know. I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you.
He could. You know what's insane? He can start for the Miami Heat this year. I'm going to say it right now. He can be the starting point guard for the Miami Heat this year. And I know it's crazy that I'm saying that.
You always have one. You always got one. Every year you got one guy that you say.
There are scenarios, and Spo even mentioned it today, where he called Jovic the connector. You can run offense through Nikola Jovic. You have Hawkins that can step right in. Do you know what the thing with Hawkins? I want to see how it works out with Highsmith because I believe Highsmith might take some of his minutes in the beginning. I do see Caleb coming out from the bench. I see Robertson coming from the bench. I want to see how they handle that backup point guard and the backup center because I feel he might run a lineup of Kyle Lowry, Duncan Robinson, Caleb Martin, Hawkins or Highsmith, and Jovic, where Thomas Bryant might not get so much playing time right away. But all this can fluctuate. You have to get your team into training camp. You see how they flow together. You see how they mesh. You see how the lineups work. So this is all green right now. But there's no way, shape, or form that any logical basketball mind, because remember, they talked about Gabe Vincent and Max Strus last year. Like, no one cared who they were. They didn't know who they were.
Now.
Yeah,
but
now
not
it's like,
now.
oh, they
not
lost
now.
Max. They lost Gabe. What are they gonna do? Oh, okay. Now you know.
All of a sudden.
Hey man, it's a work in progress. I do want to see how the situation with Kyle gets resolved because you see multiple. Salary wise, you can get T.J. McCollum and Buddy Hield. Salary wise, you can get James Harden. Salary wise, you can one of the packages with the Pistons with Morris and Bogdanovic, I think. There's many mixes here and there. Obviously, you're going to keep a close eye on the Philadelphia situation with James Harden. That might be the one that's going to trail into training camp. I doubt it I doubt it leaks into the season. I do believe they're going to try to resolve it before that. So the biggest question mark is Kyle playing time and
You
is
know
even
where I
part of the team.
stand. I want to. I wasn't even thinking about that until you said it, but I want to give an initial reaction to it because you know where
Yeah.
I stand. It's the same thing with Kyrie, with James Harden.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like every time they
Yeah.
go somewhere, there's something goes on. And okay, let's put that down a bit. Let's put that down for a second. Let's be
Yeah.
real with who James Harden is compared to Kyrie. Kyrie's still a damn good player in this league. Win on the court. Where James Harden, he might be on the down end. However, I'm just going to play devil's advocate here.
Mm-hmm.
We know what he is off the, and you're putting him in Miami and you know, Bayside there. Think of South Beach. I'm not, you know, think of all that, and you're putting him in that situation. But he's in the Miami Heat culture. Maybe, you know, with Jimmy and Bam and company, might be a better situation. You get a James Harden who, in a perfect world, like, and if you could get somebody else, I'd rather get that somebody else, equal or greater. But if you're not, and you really think, hey man, we need to add somebody maybe to make Jimmy happy because he's going emo, you know. But
by the way, the Jimmy thing, it's a perfect psychological move, Bob.
Oh,
because everybody focused on Jimmy, they distracted. It was humor.
They're not talking about Dame Lillard. They're talking about
nothing.
They're not talking about Dame Lillard. Exactly.
That's great.
He said it. He told
Jimmy.
Bam said, Bam out of bounds. What the hell? He goes, it's my Halloween, bro. It's
so and the media photo's hilarious, bro. I don't know if you've seen the actual one, the one that they're gonna put on all the telecasts and all that. Oh, Bob is funny as shit, man. You gotta see it. Dude. You gotta see it.
But I could see, like, you know where I stand on it. I wouldn't be mad if it didn't happen, but at the same sense, I wouldn't be mad if it did, because maybe, you know, he could play point. Then you got James with these guys and whatever.
He's averaged 10 assists the past 4 years.
Exactly. So
3 years. So
we'll see what happens. I will say is that it looks like Kyle Lowry might be on the way out, especially after today. The way, because nobody really does that. They don't not talk to the media for Miami. Everybody's kind of. But let me ask you, and we're going to talk more as we go on closer to the season. Preseason's about to start. I think the 10th of October.
It's
Charlotte,
the first game. Yeah,
Charlotte, right?
Yeah, this week they're off to training camp in Boca Raton. They usually do either Bahamas or Boca Raton. This year they're going up to FAU, and they're going to be there for the whole week.
And so they're going to Boca Raton. I love because, you know, the Bahamas, but they're like, no, dude, we're not going to. We can't afford the Bahamas right now. We're just going to do this.
Man, people are going to clown them so bad. Even Carnival is the patch. Like, I understand. Okay. Barry Jackson is kind of gone on the deep end, where Barry Jackson has turned this negative Barry, what people are calling him now, where he's just going off and talking about the things that he knows. And it's true. The reason, I'm not saying the Miami Heat are a perfect organization, but to me it's so comical when they continue to talk about just the economical part of it, which I understand why the talk is there. But other teams are going to have to overpay no matter what. And I still think in the long run, if there is a move to be made, and it has tax implications, if the move gets you closer to a championship, they will make it. I believe so. 100%.
So let's ask this, and we'll continue as we go on here.
Yeah.
You know, but I want to ask you about, you know, talking about where the Heat stand. We know where the Heat finished last year. Let's see. What seed was it?
8th seed.
8th seed. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a play.
44 and 38.
44-38. Yeah. Of course, we know they made the run to the finals. Milwaukee was the number 1 seed. Boston, Philly, Cleveland, Knicks, Nets, Hawks, Heat, Bulls, Raptors, and then you go on, of course, to the, I don't want to say the scrubs, but you know, but they're not really scrubs because you know. But let's talk about that. Your top 8 teams in the East. You know, what teams actually concern you? What teams give you cause to pause? I know you want to say none. Okay. And that is your homer side. I love you. You're my brother. You know I love you're my brother.
This isn't my homer side.
All love in the world. And it's not like I love you, bro. No, it's real love because you are my brother. We grew up together 35.
This isn't my homer side. And I'll tell you right now.
Can I preference?
Go.
Preference? I know you don't want to hear it. I know you're trying to avoid it.
Go ahead.
You do have a homer side when it comes to the Heat, and I love you for it. That's what makes you, bro. I'm with you. You know, I've been riding this with you for life, and it's going to be forever. But take it off for a second.
Yeah.
Just take it off. All right? You got to find somebody. Give me at least 2 teams where you go, Bobby, cause to pause. And then give me where you think the Heat might fall this season in regards of 1 to 8. All right, 2 teams,
Okay,
and where did the Heat fall?
2 teams obviously, because by nature you're gonna have Milwaukee and Boston because they did get
Yeah,
better. They did get better. Do I still see the points where we can exploit them and points of weaknesses for them where people don't see it because they're not known names? And obviously, it's sexy because you just acquired Dame, and in Boston, you acquired Drew Holiday because after you move Marcus Smart and all that. Um, Boston, for example, is very thin up front. They have no interior defense.
gave up Robert Williams, dude.
They have wing defenders. Drew Holiday's older. He's still an all NBA
Oh yeah,
defender.
no way.
Don't
Yeah,
get me
no,
wrong,
no.
but you're still not solving your issue where Drew Holiday's gonna have the ball in his hand. Jason Tatum kind of needs the ball in his hand. Jaylen Brown needs the ball in his hand at times. Horford is much older. You don't have depth. You lost Grant Williams, one of your best defenders. So you're gonna have you signed Porzingis. So offensively, you're gonna have a high octane offense. Are you gonna run into problems at times and you're gonna lose some of these games? Absolutely. Milwaukee's depth is older. Milwaukee doesn't have young depth. Their real game is Giannis and Dame are going to be unstoppable, guaranteed. Are they going to have some tough stretches? Yeah, they might start off slow off the gate. Like people don't realize this. When you
It
change
takes time for
nucleus,
stars. Yeah,
it
yeah.
takes time to gel, which is one of the pluses for the Heat this year. And that's what people are overlooking. This team has been together. This team knows how to play with each other. So do I think he will fall between 2 and 3 this year. I don't see him being the
Really?
top seed. I do see him 2 or 3.
Wow.
The only team in the East that is better than Miami, I don't think Philadelphia is better than Miami. I have Boston and Milwaukee finishing 1 and 2, Miami finishing 3. I do believe New York stays in the 5 to 6 range, but I do see them taking maybe a step back. They regress a little bit. Cleveland should be up on the rise. I do see Orlando surprising some teams. Atlanta, nothing about Atlanta scares me in
No.
reality at all. Name me any other team, Bob, that I might be overlooking in regards to playoffs.
So
Um,
no, I'm
Brooklyn.
looking.
I want to see what Brooklyn does. Brooklyn's going to make
Yeah,
the
healthy
playoffs.
Ben Simmons.
Ben
Uh,
Simmons, you got Michael Bridges, you got Cam Johnson. Like you have a nice team in Brooklyn.
you look
So
at what is it? Chicago, Toronto. Uh,
Chicago's
what about Charlotte?
no.
They were low
Charlotte is
this year,
still
but
yeah.
okay. So
Charlotte going to be entertaining, but they're not playoff material or championship material at all.
I agree with you. First off, I think Milwaukee is obviously after the well, Milwaukee they did more with less. They won the championship a couple years
Yeah.
back. They bring in
And
Dame
Chris
Lillard.
Middleton will regress. Chris Middleton will regress. He's
But
getting
you know what's going
older.
to slow
And,
but you know what slows that down is a star with you, and that Dame
of
Lillard
course,
trade is
of
going to
course.
help that. You think Brooke Lopez? I
Mhm.
can see Milwaukee 1 or 2. Boston might get the 1 seed this year just because their nucleus is still there. They still got Tatum. They still got Brown. They
Mhm.
lost Marcus Smart. That's going to hurt them. Philly, we'll see what happens with
White is
Philly.
going to be huge. White is going to be huge this year too.
Oh, for Boston, yeah.
Yeah, White's going to be
Um,
huge.
Philly, I'm just running down the list here, but Philadelphia, we know Joel Embiid is a star.
They're going to struggle. Philly's going to struggle,
But
Bob.
what do they get back for Harden? How does that impact them?
Oh.
How does the Harden stuff
Yeah.
screw with them? That's going to be very, obviously they're going to be in the top 4, 5, 6, whatever. They're going to be in that top echelon.
Yeah.
They're
You
a
got
good
Embiid.
squad.
You got Maxey.
Cleveland might move up. I think Cleveland has a legit shot, move up in that 3, 4 spot.
Yes. Max Strus is going to help Cleveland a lot, by the way. Max Strus is going to help Cleveland. That shoot is going to help out.
But I think I'm going to say right now with that, I think he steps back. I think the Magic jump, and I'm not putting them ahead of the Heat, but I think the Magic are going to jump. I think they're going to be in that top 8 for sure. Absolutely.
Magic, I think, are a playing team. Magic are a playing team.
Yeah, they're going to be in the top 8. They're going to be in that 8, or what is it? Whatever. I think 10 now.
Yeah, top 10, yeah.
So they'll be in that echelon. They'll be there. Don't sleep on Toronto. Atlanta, I know Trae Young says he's disrespected, blah, blah, blah. It's deserved. But, they did get rid of John Collins.
Toronto's sneaky, Bob, but they have no direction right now. You don't know which way they're going to go. The Wizards are going to be fun. Hey, the Wizards are going to play ball, bro. Wizards are going to play ball. It wouldn't be a show without 2-3-4-2-3.
But no, the East is going to be fun this year, and I agree with you. Like, you know, again, I do think this roster is better than it was last year. I wouldn't say 1, 2, or 3 right now, Alex. That's just me. I
No,
would
it's fine.
say 5, 6. I'm in that echelon right now with Miami. Now, as we get closer, after we see the preseason, after we see if maybe Philly makes a trade, we'll make our official predictions.
That's fair.
Maybe Fast Break becomes a segment or a part, like a show within a show. We have a Fast Break
Hey,
part of the show. I'm
yeah,
thinking.
we're gonna.
I'm having ideas in my head, Alex, as I'm watching, as I'm talking
Hey,
this right
that's
now.
cool, man. That's cool. We could switch it up, and I'm saying we might be able to do 2 podcasts a month, officially just basketball
Yeah,
when basketball
Fast Break.
starts.
Yep,
We
straight
might
up.
do some. Obviously, we're missing Neil. Justin couldn't be on today, because of scheduling, and I can't do fast break tomorrow, so that's why we're just gonna jam it here.
That's right. But I want to do our official predictions on the
Hmm.
season, like we always
Absolutely.
do every year.
Hmm.
MVP, Rookie of the Year, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I want to talk about the playoffs, and then our predicted finale. The Heat remind me of the 49ers. That's interesting. Let Khalil cook.
Man, hey, I think now that he said that, I think because the Eagles have won, but the way they've won and their opponents have been a little sketchy. I know a win is a win, but I think the 49ers are the best team in football, man.
Now, if Hero doesn't get moved, and it looks like he won't because he's officially a part of those pictures, Miami usually says, "Hey, you know what? Yes, we're gonna," and I think he realizes that until he's able to officially put his stamp on what he's gonna. Miami's gonna say, "Hey, you're the best big. We're not gonna trade Bam. We're not moving Jimmy. You're
Bro,
the
no,
piece."
yeah.
But
Hmm.
but and I think he accepts it, and he's gonna use that as a chip on his shoulder. People go, "Oh, is he gonna hold against Heat?" No, he's gonna hold against everybody else because he's gonna show everybody
Man,
else you
and
should have wanted me. You should have
he was
wanted
going to
me.
be your leading scorer this year. And Bam offensively, he's
Ooh.
going to be much improved this year. But the way the team is
I'm
built,
holding Bam to it. He said he's gonna
yeah,
start shooting the 3. I'm gonna hold him to it.
absolutely.
I'm
It's
gonna
just
hold him
gonna
to
come
it.
natural. It's a natural progression. But remember, we talked about this for years, man. Is a natural progression of a player like Bam. People do not realize this, and that's why for the last 4 years, every scenario that has like, oh, will we trade Bam? No, I'm not trading Bam for anyone. And I think I've said it. The only one I would trade Bam for is Giannis. And now, even now, as Giannis gets older, I still wouldn't trade him for Giannis. Bam Adebayo, to me, this year he's going to solidify
Here's the
where
issue.
he's the
Can I just
most
say that?
complete player in the
I've given
NBA.
you crap for that, but I'm going to tell you why he shouldn't do that. Because you need to have another legit piece, and not that Jimmy's not that piece. Jimmy's on the tail end of it. If you had let's say Jovic ends up being, or Jaime or Jovic end up being a legit star in this
Yes,
team, this league,
yes.
and they're there with Bam, then Bam becomes open because then you go, okay, who can I get to pair with Jovic? Who do I pair with Bam?
Hmm.
If you traded Bam and you just have Jimmy and those other guys or whoever else you get, then it's kind of a tic tac. You're basically
You
flipping.
lose your base.
You have the same
Yes,
formula right now. You have the same thing.
yes, yes.
But if you add a Dame Lillard with Jimmy and Bam, now
Oh,
you're talking.
absolutely,
Now you're talking.
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But
And
but
Bob,
to me, the only way you decide to move Bam is if you have another guy, a legit guy. And I'm not saying Jimmy's
and
not. Jimmy, love
no,
Jimmy,
at all.
but he's not
But
that guy in the future. You got to have
you'll
somebody who.
see, you'll see this year if the team stays as constructed, Bob. And I'm telling you right now, you're gonna see it this year. Jimmy's gonna be a facilitator. I don't think Jimmy's going to score 18, 19 points on a daily night. Like, he's going to get his 20. Jimmy will get you 30 and 40. But ideally, like I've told you this 100 times, Jimmy, ideally, if Jimmy averages 17, 18 points, 6, 7 rebounds, 5, 6 assists, the Heat are unstoppable. Because the way this team is built, scoring wise, interior scoring, obviously Bam's going to be huge. You got a lot of pieces that can create on their own. Richardson defensively and offensively alone is going to be huge. And Tyler, I'll give you this. Tyler, I think this year he can average 23 to 24 points, and he'll be your leading scorer because this team is built for you're asking Tyler to do what Tyler loves to do. Just go play ball. Go play ball.
You think Tyler could win? And I don't want to do the awards right now, but 2, 3, 4, 3 just put his, and I want to react to that very quick. But
Yeah.
do you think Tyler could win Sixth Man of the Year again?
He could, but he's not coming off the bench
You think he's a
this
start?
year. Yeah, he's starting. He's starting for
Okay.
sure. There's no right now on the roster in the starting lineup. You're not gonna have a de facto point guard. You're gonna have 2 guards, and
That's
because
fair.
you don't need it. You don't need this. This offense does not need a point guard. Now
Raphael, what's up, my man? Thank you for
the
watching, brother.
second unit can still use Lowry if he plays. The perfect role for Lowry this year is off the bench, 15, 17, 18 minutes a night. Lowry can still give you that and be productive.
So let me just say, I just want to react to that, even though we're not doing that today, but and giving
Yeah,
ours.
go ahead.
But he has MVP Devin Booker, Rookie of the Year Victor Wembanyama, and Coach of the Year Rick Carlisle. Interesting choices.
I could see. Obviously, yeah, Rookie of the Year.
That's
It
obvious,
depends. Exactly. It all depends if
I
there's.
mean, obvious right now. Well, I'm going to take a deeper look at it.
Scoot, I'm going to keep an eye on Scoot, what they do in Portland, because Scoot is going to have a lot of. That's another
true.
thing.
You see, whoever's coaching
Coach,
the Cavs.
That's Bickerstaff.
Oh, JB Bickerstaff.
JB Bickerstaff. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Hey,
he could have. I'm telling you.
Who's coaching Milwaukee now? Who's the coach of Milwaukee?
Oh, Adrian Griffin, first time head coach.
Right there.
Which I understand. That's another thing, Bob. That's another thing. That's a rookie head coach. I know he's a veteran. He was an assistant coach, but there's that element where it's a new coach. Obviously, you
Griffin,
got
and I might be wrong here, but I thought he's a former player, Adrian Griffin.
He's a former player, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Adrian Griffin, might 6'10".
Yeah, I think he'll be. I get what you're saying. The rookie coach and with all these stars, with the two big stars, maybe the best player in basketball, in my opinion. To be honest, and then you got Dame Lillard, who is a legit top 10, top 5 star in the NBA. That's gonna be tough, but former player, one of the best assistants in basketball, head coach. I could see him being up for coach of the year, but we're gonna hold it. Let's focus. That'll be next show.
Yeah, next show.
We got plans for next show, and then of course, or we might do that. But when I go down there for the Panthers game,
we could do that. We could do
that live, right? From 5:50.
It will be after our first. It will be. I think there will be 2 preseason games or a preseason game already.
As long as it's still preseason, it's safe.
Yeah,
it's regular season one.
We can do it in person. Yeah,
we'll note that down. In person, we'll do our picks. Our picks live show.
Picks live show 10:15, 10:16.
We gotta get coffee con leche. No, we gotta get Cuban coffee. We got a
little pit stop plan.
Yeah, we're gonna have fun, dude. I'm excited for that Monday, man. I really am. That Monday's
and we have our first cold front, Bob. We have our first cold front in Miami coming, I believe, in the next 2 days. So it might be nice and chilly when you come.
I hope so. I freaking hope so. Before we wrap up, I do want to talk about the Miami Marlins. I almost said Florida Marlins, but it's Miami Marlins. But the Miami Marlins, man. First off, they were in 2020, but it wasn't a full season. They made it.
Yeah.
So this is the first time they made the playoffs with a full season.
In 20 years.
What a run. Exactly. What a run they have made. First off, congratulations to our general manager. I always butcher her last name, and I don't want to, but Kim
Young.
Young?
I don't know how NG is, but that's the way they pronounce it. Young.
Okay. Like, first off, congratulations. The first woman general manager in sports. Is it sports in general?
No. Right? I believe she's the first female general manager in baseball. I do believe. Yeah, and we also have the first president in baseball. Like our front office in the Miami Marlins is led by a female president and a female general manager.
I didn't know about the female president.
Yes,
oh shoot. I gotta look it up. But no, congratulations to her. Congratulations. 10th Street Cribs. What's up? What's up, Hunter? Yeah, you're gonna be live in front of the house. You're like, thank you all for watching 10th Street. Run! But it's great news. I can't wait. NBA playoff baseball. That's my favorite baseball right there. Marlins gonna be there.
And Bob, the Panthers are coming up now, coming back again.
Yes, they will. I'm going to a game this season in Nashville. We're playing in Nashville. Yes, I am.
You see, those are things that the Miami Marlins have built the right way. They do have the pitching staff in place and the players in place. And I got to give my respects to Bruce Sherman. A lot of people were questioning him as an owner about his spending. And he did state that if the Marlins were in playoff contention, he would trade and spend in order to continue to make that final run. And we traded for Berger. We traded for Bell, and they've performed, and the team has clicked on all cylinders. It's been up and down. Skip is the best manager for this squad. The way they developed, they've come together. I'm not saying we're going to win a World Series, but it looks nice.
Well, first off, I'm going to say it.
Okay.
Last time the Marlins made it, we've seen 2 World Series in our lifetime, Alex.
Yes, sir.
And the last time the Marlins made the playoffs at this type of fashion was in 2003. 2003, 20 years ago, right?
Yeah, 20 years ago.
And they won the World Series. They're going against the Phillies. No, and again, not sleeping on the Phillies.
No.
Josh Wingate, Brett Lagasse, that's their team.
Phillies going down.
Listen, they lost a heartbreaker in the World Series last year. They're looking to get it back. We know Bryce Harper and company, but Luis Reyes and that Marlins team, Chaz, all those guys. To me, this is the Cinderella story of the major.
And we need to sign Luis Reyes, the number one priority this offseason, long-term deal with Luis Reyes.
I love what they did at the deadline. I love what they did at the trade deadline. I could see them going after a star. The way the owner, Bruce Sherman, got to give him love. The general manager, Skip. I'm excited, and I'm going to say, and I'm saying this not because of my knowledge of baseball. I know baseball. I could watch baseball. I could explain baseball to the common person, but I'm not like, oh, I know everything about every team. No, I'm going to say this strictly as a homer and a fan, but I'm going to say it as much as I could try to make sense of it. Miami is going to be the Cinderella team of this playoffs.
This postseason.
Miami, like when they beat the Yankees and they weren't supposed to win it all, and they had the person messed. Remember that guy caught the ball and messed the whole thing up and forgot what team that was?
That was the Cubs.
The Cubs game, remember that?
Remember that? Yes, that he took Moses Alou. Yes.
Shocked the world to beat the Yankees. This is going to be that season, dude. We're going to be hoisting the World Series trophy by the end of – I'm going to tell you. That's all I'm saying. And let me just say Hunter. He says, you guys are a good combo. Y'all are a good combo. Love the show. First of all, thank you, brother. It's easy. It's easy doing this with Alex.
Man, we've been a combo. We've been a combo for 30 years. We're like the number 2 at McDonald's. 2 cheeseburgers, fries, and a Coke, man.
As my wife says, Alex is my longest relationship.
It's true. It's true.
It is. It's what it is. We've
had our ups and downs, but we never broken up. We have a long term. And I was telling you this is insane for the viewers out there. We have lived longer apart as friends than as actual neighbors. And we thought about it the other day, and we're like, holy shit. It doesn't feel that way. But we've now, Bobby moved out at 17? Was it 17, 18? You went to
I was
north?
back and forth. Right. I was off and on from Miami.
And we're 35. Well, I'm 36. He's 35. So we're now 18 years after, which is crazy to me. The fact that we're 36 and 35 and we're here. So it's insane.
So thank you, honey. That means a lot, brother. And we love talking sports. We love talking life. What we talk on here is probably a lot of life, but what we talk on here is usually what we talk on when we're off the show, and we'll probably be doing that when we're hanging out in Miami, just what it is, dude. It's easy doing that. We could argue, we could have fun. There's no hard feelings. Like we've been doing this for years. We'll do it for a lot more, God willing.
Yes, sir.
But let me just say, I know Alex has had a long day. I've had a long day. Teacher conferences, migraines, and all of the above. I want to thank you guys, Hunter 23423, Josh Wingate, Chef Ray. Everyone tune in, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Duke, gotta say Duke, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, everyone, whoever's tuning in, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't yet. We got so much great content. We broke 1,000 subscribers. I'm so thankful for everybody. We're just going to continue growing. And I just want to state this. I do want to have some coverage for playoff baseball. If you love baseball, and you want to give this a shot just to get on and talk baseball, talk playoffs, find me on Twitter at Bobby Finsock. You can find AJ Tia at AJ_Tia.
Do you know who the Nicholas brothers are? The Nicholas brothers. No.
Are they in Miami? Are they Hialeah?
Wait a second. Is there a story about them?
That sounds familiar, dude.
No.
But I don't know.
Hold on. Let's Google this. Let's see if this is something that. Before we go.
Thank you, 2343. Appreciate you, man. But yeah, so but anyway, as Alex is looking that up very quick, and maybe
the Entertainment Act, yes, in the 30s and 50s. Okay.
At first I thought he was talking about Nick, and I was gonna post Nick's video on here. Nicky did his first
dances.
Nick did his first, my brother Nick did his first Elvis tribute concert. He had the black jumpsuit on, and
okay. Was it here? Was it here in Miami? Or
no, it was on the ship. It was on the ship.
That's perfect.
The camera might be bad, but let me see if I
Man,
can.
I'm
put on
telling you, bro. At the end of the day, I know Nick probably could do it.
I don't
Nick
know.
is the perfect host for a
I don't know if you guys,
Let me see. I can see it. Yep, that's him doing his thing.
dude. No, and it wasn't. It was live music. They were playing the band. He had people
Hmm.
singing in the background. He put it all together. And I told this. I said this about pregame because he was on pregame in the comments, Alex.
Oh yeah.
And what he does on TikTok, what he does outside of what he on the ship, his job, as that is my brother. Look it up. 234 Nick Voss.
Yep.
That's his stage name. That's my
Yeah.
younger brother Nick. He's a year younger than I. Alex's brother too.
Hmm.
But Nicky is an entertainer on Norwegian cruises, and but he also is he's an actor. He's a musician. He's a very talented
We've said
entertainer.
this. He's the most talented individual
Yeah,
that we know. He is all around talent in the music industry, talent,
for sure, for sure,
presentation, modeling, everything. In
for
the
sure.
entertainment industry, he's the best.
Yeah, especially with all of us. But what he does that I have a lot of respect for, not just
Mhm.
with. I mean, it's hard for me to watch him as an entertainer on stage because people, oh, he's amazing, because I grew up
You've
with him. To me,
watched.
it's like,
We've seen this over and
we've seen
over
the
and
same thing
over.
over and over and over again. We know what he is. He's in it.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
the talent he has, but also the balls he has to get up on stage
yeah.
in front of
And
hundreds of people.
he's not afraid to fail. That's the one thing
No,
that Nick's
he will
always
go
had.
up
He
there and do
will
it. And
not.
if he messes up, he'll get off and go learn to
Yeah,
do better.
yeah.
But what
Hmm.
what I do respect about Nick a lot in regards of what he works on is that you look at the channel here and you look at the work that's put in and the graphics and the all the shows and the all the whatever
Hmm.
everything that I've done on this channel, because not that I pay anybody to do it, I do it and I
Yeah,
pay for this to do everything, but for myself,
yeah,
but to do it to have the access to do everything. But I do it because I have no one else to do it, and I learn as I go. Nick is music videos, what he learns on stage. That Elvis tribute concert, he did that all by himself. He's done it. He puts the camera there and he does a music video, and he takes it and goes here, and he's traveling the world. He's busting his ass to do this. No one's doing it for him. No one's holding that camera. He's doing it. So what? Very happy for Nick.
yeah, man.
If he sees this, I don't know if I don't know if he'll see it, but I'm
Better
proud
get
of him
teary
in
eyed and
regards
shit.
to that.
He better
Huh?
cry. He better cry, little fucker.
Yeah, you better cry. Yeah.
Yeah, he better cry.
We all
Call
know
me
he's gonna
later, bro.
cry.
Call me
No,
later.
just playing,
Cry.
just
You cry.
playing.
You better cry.
You
Why
better
you crying, little man? Oh yeah, oh you know man. Yeah,
You
what
being a
you
little
crying?
bit. You being a little bit. No, stop being a little bit. No, just kidding. But anyway, guys, appreciate you all. 23423. Thank you, my man. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Chef,
Dude.
Hunter, always appreciate you guys.
Josh,
Much love. If you're a
everybody.
Dolphins fan, Heat fan, Marlins. Well, let's say for Marlins and Dolphins fans, and obviously Heat fans, we're gonna combine them all. If you're a Marlins, Heat, and Dolphins fan, like, subscribe, and most importantly, fins up. We'll see you guys on the other side.
Peace.
Peace.